right, guys, welcome back. This is Eric here with Guitarsenal, and today we're going to be taking a look at a really neat delay pedal. This is a Behringer vintage time machine, and we were also getting some really cool swells and interesting things there in the intro, hopefully with the new Polaris from Spaceman Effects. That's our resonant overdrive. I picked up this pedal because I watched one of the blogs over at JSS that he does on YouTube where he was talking about, copies of pedals and some of the cheaper pedals and talking about Behringer just as a brand. And I didn't know that they're actually one of the largest producers of effects pedals pretty much in the entire world. Not only at an OEM level for other companies, but also just as their own brand. I mean, these guys put out a ton of different effects. Now, if you've seen our previous video that we did on the Electro Harmonix Memory Man, the Deluxe Memory Man, you look at this pedal and you can quickly tell where it gets its lineage. It is pretty much a blatant copy of the Deluxe Memory Man. The circuit is really close to the Deluxe Memory Man. The controls are exactly the same as the Deluxe Memory Man. Even the case, like the way they house this pedal, the way it's built, it is pretty verbatim a pretty dang close copy of the Memory Man. Where this pedal loses some points compared to the Memory Man is the power. All right, this one takes 9 volt power, which is not a big deal, but in the delay pedal world, when you start getting into analog delay pedals, okay, analog, when you start bumping that voltage up, see the Deluxe Memory Man runs at 18 volts. So it has this beautiful high fidelity, high clean overhead, beautiful repeats that are warm and glassy at the same time. Does that make sense? The Electro Harmonix Memory Man is a high fidelity piece of music gear. It sounds absolutely beautiful and musical, every single chord you ring out on it. This pedal doesn't sound bad. Here is just a clean Fender Super Reverb that we were using here in the intro. Anyway, there's a clean Super Reverb. I screwed up there, but it's still funny. All right, now with the repeats from the Behringer. All right, that's all we had going in there in the intro. Was just a little. All right, we're going to manipulate some of the controls. So just like the Deluxe Memory Man, you've got a chorus and vibrato toggle. We're going to start on the vibrato toggle, and we got the vibrato set low. You got a delay, feedback, mix, and level control. Right now, you notice there's an overload control, just like the Deluxe Memory Man. We're powered with 9 volt power, effects out, direct out, and an input. A big, robust stomp switch. Okay? What we'll do is look at this overload control. I'm just going to kind of hit the guitar kind of hard. Hit it with the overdrive. Tell you what, we're not going to do anything before I tune real quick. Let me, I think I knocked my guitar to tune earlier. Okay, sorry about that. I was a little bit out of tune there for a moment. The overload control lets you know when the unit's peaking out and oscillating. The mix is a really interesting feature that I like about the Deluxe Memory Man. So let's just go through some of the sounds. I'm gonna let a couple of chords ring out here. All right, let's get everything up kind of about 50%. See what that sounds like. You get that feedback control over 5, it's going to oscillate like this. So that's one thing to consider. As long as you keep that feedback control below 5, you're not going to have a major issue. Let's start down on the low end of the delay. Gets a little crazy there. Let's turn the mix down a bit. The repeats are dark, and the repeats don't have as much clarity and musical sound as the Deluxe Memory Man, and I would imagine that's a voltage thing. So it depends on the kind of sound that you're wanting to get. If you're wanting those really glassy, pretty repeats, you're going to have to pump that voltage up, and that's the only detriment I see on this unit compared to the Deluxe Memory Man is the power. You notice those repeats are kind of dark. They're not quite as clear, and you can hear some distortion in there. Which is not bad. That's not a bad thing. It almost makes me think of like a Roland Space Echo or a Benson Echo Rec, like kind of dark, ratty, broken tape kind of sound, which is, you know, for some people might be a cool thing that you might want. All right, let's get up into the delay time, get the feedback a little lower. Where I like to generally run a Memory Man is with the mix down on about the 25 percentile range. Same with the feedback and then the delay to taste. And I can't really hear that vibrato very well. Let's very, very subtle. It can get subtle, it can get crazy. Let's get the mix up a little bit higher. And I don't know about you, but I can't really hear that vibrato. I'm gonna crank that up. Let's just let a few things ring out here. All right, let's get over into the chorus setting. See if we can hear any chorus. I'm not really hearing the vibrato. Are you, Chad? Not like we did with the Deluxe Memory Man. Okay, we are getting some swirl in there from the vibrato or from the chorus, but the chorus just about max. You can barely hear it. That chorus sound is pretty particular. I'm going to venture closely to say that compared to some of the settings that I like on my Memory Man, the sounds are nowhere close to the Memory Man for what I normally like to have dialed into the Memory Man. For what these pedals can be had for, though, it is a close facsimile. Maybe if you could have somebody mod this thing to the proper voltage, maybe that'll bring it to life a bit. But for what these things cost, I mean, I think they're like $100. Which vintage Memory Man these days is going upwards of $450 to sometimes $600, depending on the condition. So for the sixth of a price of a Memory Man, it does kind of fake that sound a bit, and it does sort of has its own interesting kind of sound to it that is different than the Memory Man and the same in the same sentence, if that makes sense. Let's see. Let's see. All right, so a sound that I have on my Memory Man is usually about, where's that sucker at? All right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to set the dials on the Memory Man, or on this, exactly how I have my Memory Man set up. Right here. No reverb. Not even close. Let's try pumping up that mix, see if we get a little bit more of that in there. Okay, so now we're getting into the slapback characteristic that I expect out of my Memory Man. So now let's just get our mix to taste. Pump that mix up just a hair. Let's hit it with an overdrive. See how that sounds. That Polaris sounds pretty pretty cool with the expression pedal. I don't want to overload this video with different things, but you know, the Vintage Time Machine is an interesting pedal. I'm not going to go throwing away my Memory Man anytime soon, especially considering that I picked it up for 40 bucks at a flea market. So I did really good at $40. I actually ended up paying twice as much for this pedal as I did for the Memory Man. But all jokes aside, for $100, I mean, it is pretty close. I mean, for where I've got the knobs on the Deluxe Memory Man set versus where this thing is set. Now I had to kind of toy with the mix, but that's not a bad slapback sound. That's pretty legit. The repeats are a little dirtier, a little kind of hollower. It doesn't really have that sort of pretty, glassy, high fidelity sort of sound. I don't know how to really explain it, but that 18 volts that you get in the Deluxe Memory Man really brings that pedal to life. Go and look at that video if you haven't. Check out our Deluxe Memory Man video. You tell me what you think. But here's the Vintage Time Machine from Behringer. I would say it's a great buy if you can get one used for under $100. It's a great pedal for the money, it seems. You know, the same complaint goes with this versus the Memory Man is that I'm not a big fan of how big the pedal is. It's a physically large pedal, takes up a lot of space on the board. Not a fan of that, but if you need that kind of sound, it can nail it if you set it up just right. So let's give this a listen. So this is pretty close to my normal kind of delay sound that I like to use. There. That's closer to the Memory Man right there in terms of that's a little glassier sounding getting right there. That's pretty close right there to our normal sound. Guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found maybe some useful sounds out of this video. I would say that for $100, they're definitely worth the money. Something you might want to look at if you're into this sort of thing. Thanks for watching. Guys, we post every Monday and Friday here on Guitarsenal. Make sure you tune in. Thanks very much. I'll make just a little bit more racket in case you haven't heard enough, and we'll let you guys get back to your day. So let's get maybe a little bit longer of a delay, and we'll just toy around with this a little bit. Leave the mix about where it's at, and see how this sounds. Oh yeah, that's a nice little tail off right there. Let's see.